And you thought there was going to be music this week. Well, I got good news. Not anymore. Today we are going over the history of Sony. Now, most of you probably already know, but I'm still going over it anyway. First came the PlayStation 1, then the small PlayStation 1, then the big PlayStation 2, and the small PlayStation 2, then the PSX, then the PSP, and then the PS3. Okay, we're done. Oh, silly me, I forgot a bunch of things about Sony, like its origins. Let's start with that now. The first traces of Sony stretch back to 1945 when Masahiro Ikuba founded a small radio repairing company called Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering Corporation. Oh my god, it's a mouthful. 1 year later, he made Japan's first tape recorder, known as the Type G. In the early 50s, Ikuba came to the US and teamed up with companies like Bell and Texas Instruments to make smaller and smaller radios, like the TR-55. The reason they changed the company name was because most Americans didn't know how to pronounce the actual thing. So they took the Latin word Sony, which means sound in English. Sony continued to expand by making VCR, surround sound system, DVD players, discs, computers, TVs, the Walkman, and video games. I mean, they even have Sony Pictures. Whether you like it or not, Sony is big. But what inspired Sony to go into game making in the first place? Well, it's a funny story that proves that the console wars are just one big soap opera. It all started in 1993. Nintendo teamed up with Sony and they planned to release the Super Nintendo disc. But for some gay reason, Nintendo double-crossed Sony and teamed up with Philips. Sony found out, got pissed, and decided to make their own, the PlayStation. The first thing Sony released, even before the PlayStation, was a virtual pet called the Fun-Bit. Yes, that's very hard to believe. Out of all the things Sony were to make, it was a virtual pet. Another thing was the Pocket Station. It was a small portable system where you could play mini-games by getting them from the PlayStation disc. It was only released in Japan. Gay, huh? Now that just about wraps everything up. Yes, I know it is very sad that this week's TVS was very short, but I promise next week is going to be way longer and have way more systems. Okay, see you August 8th.